I hope you listen to this show regularly. I hope you do because we are water in the middle of a desert. We are an oasis for many people across the country who believe the country has gone insane. I know many of you feel like you're dying of thirst, you're parched, you're walking around saying, my God, what has happened to basic common sense? What has happened to all segments of normalcy? Another story where sports is absolutely proven to be ludicrous. Now, Bubba Wallace, this story, again, I would say anywhere in the country, I think OUTKICK covered it better than anyone did. People say, why would you say that? And the answer is because everybody else, it feels like in sports media and certainly in the media in general, wants to react before we know what the actual facts of a situation are. No one takes the time to take a step back and think, okay, let's work through the process. If you listened to the show yesterday, I told you that I believed there were 3 potential outcomes, and by and large, people were only talking about one of those outcomes when it came to the Bubba Wallace investigation. We had a good interview yesterday with Shannon Spake where we got a lot of factual information. Then I walked through it, and it's like people are afraid to consider any of the actual possibilities here because it's racist if you don't say everything that happens in the universe is racist, right? I said, look, it's possible that there is a racist person at NASCAR who put a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. That's possible. That's option 1. Option 2, which is what I said I thought was the most likely, and it appears that I was correct, I said is there is not a negative connotation that this is just, if you go back and listen, I said that this is just potentially the pull rope in the garage. There's evidence that suggests that pull rope has got, it's not a noose, it's got a circle at the bottom of it to allow someone's hand to get inside of the circle and pulled up and down the garage door easier than it would be if you just had a plain rope. And then also, I said it's possible this is a hoax designed to get as much attention for Bubba Wallace as possible. I still believe that it is the misunderstanding, but I'm going to dive into this in a big way and explain to you why it's all total lunacy when you really look at all the details. But for those of you out there who had not heard the news yet, yesterday afternoon, the FBI announced that there was nothing to the allegation that there had been a racist act, and that NASCAR immediately putting out this story as if there had somehow been a noose that was left for Bubba Wallace was wrong, and that there was no way to actually defend it in any way. And here was the statement that the FBI put out. Joint statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI special agent in charge. On Monday, 15 FBI special agents conducted numerous interviews regarding the situation at Talladega Superspeedway. After a thorough review of the facts and evidence surrounding this event, we have concluded no federal crime was committed. The FBI learned that garage number 4, where the noose was found, was assigned to Bubba Wallace last week. The investigation also revealed evidence, including authentic video confirmed by NASCAR, that the noose found in garage number 4 was in that garage as early as October 2019. Although the noose is now known to have been in garage number 4 in 19, nobody could have known Mr. Wallace would be assigned to garage number 4 last week. The decision not to pursue federal charges is proper after reviewing all available facts and all applicable federal laws. We offer our thanks to NASCAR, Mr. Wallace, and everyone who cooperated with this investigation. It's a total made-up story. And what NASCAR should do is tell us why this investigation took longer than 10 seconds. When you look at the pictures of the garages, this is nowhere near a noose. It is a freaking garage pull door with a handle on it. The FBI even referring to it as a noose is absolutely ridiculous as well. This should have taken 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 8 seconds of actual investigation. Oh, this is what you're concerned about? Let me look at the rest of the garage. Oh, there are a ton of these as well. Yeah, this is not a racist act. We don't need to put out a statement on Sunday night that's filled with histrionics. And then I have to throw everybody under the bus here. To me, this is a fundamental failure of almost the entire cottage industry of sports. First of all, it's a failure by NASCAR. There was no reason for this statement to ever go out on Sunday about a noose found in Bubba Wallace's garage. This could have been privately investigated for a very limited amount of time, dismissed, and gone ahead with normalcy. Instead, NASCAR put out a statement which made it sound like there was 100% a noose there, and it makes me wonder whether NASCAR was doing whatever it could to get as much publicity as possible. It was a bad look for NASCAR. It was stupid of NASCAR to put out that statement on Sunday. The only way you can argue that it made any sense at all is if you believe NASCAR was complicit in trying to drive attention to its overall product. If you are Bubba Wallace, if somebody tells me that this happened, I want to see it for myself. Before my crew chief takes it to the public, I'm in charge of the overall decisions that are made by my crew. If you're going to come to me and you're going to create a story that is this substantial and this large and this massive, I would want to say, hey, I want to see this for myself. Can you take video of it? Have you looked at the rest of the nooses in the garage to see whether or not they are similar to open and close a garage? Bubba Wallace should have made that decision. People say, oh, Bubba Wallace did nothing wrong. If somebody comes to me on my staff and says that they have found something that's inappropriate, I want to see it. I don't want to immediately have it go public nationwide. I want to know the details for myself as opposed to allowing this to be spread nationwide, talking about it, going on the freaking View television program, as well as going on with Don Lemon last night on CNN, doing interviews with Fox Sports on the racetrack about this noose and your response to it when it was all a hoax and it wasn't real. I'm sorry, if you're going to ask me to comment on something like that, I need to see it. I need to know for myself with my own eyes what actually has happened. This is on Bubba Wallace, too, as much as it's on NASCAR. And finally, the sports media is an utter joke. You can't trust most members of the sports media because they are so far left-wing, they are desperately rooting for awful things to happen, and they give up all of their journalistic integrity. It used to be that the entire point of being a journalist, of being a member of the media, was to pursue the facts before you started to share your opinions. Now, everybody gives their opinions before they even know what the facts are. And they give their opinions based on what they want the facts to be. And the sports media as a collective group is so far left-leaning that they want awful things to be true about America because deep down they believe America is awful. That's the truth. That's the essence of this. That's how stories like this spread. NASCAR, Bubba Wallace, and the sports media all failed completely. Let me just say this. If you look at all of these big, huge racism stories that get all of the attention, if the best thing that can happen to your career is that you are a victim of a racist incident, shouldn't we hit pause and say, wait a minute, let's actually wait for the facts to come out, because now we've got 3 different stories that are just like this. We've got Michael Bennett. Remember when Michael Bennett said that he was the victim of racial profiling in Las Vegas? And then the Las Vegas police in a casino came out with 120 different versions of camera footage, which proved that Michael Bennett's story was all a lie. It was the lead story on every NFL pregame show. Oh my God, so bad for Michael Bennett that he was a victim of a racist attack. And then the story wasn't true at all, and it's just disappeared. Everybody felt the need to talk about it. Everybody felt the need to feel so sorry for Michael Bennett. Oh, I'm so sorry you had to deal with this, Michael Bennett. And then all of the details come out, and it's a complete lie. There's zero evidence to support anything that he said. Nobody calls him on it. The media that interviews him never brings it up. The story just went away. He lied to everyone. Video came out that proved that he lied to everyone, and Michael Bennett doesn't have to suffer any consequences at all. Remember LeBron James, the racist graffiti on LeBron James's gate? There's a camera right beside it that was mysteriously turned off. They called the police, but when the police arrived at LeBron James's Brentwood area, LA mansion, the racial slur had already been painted over. There was zero evidence that it happened. The LA Police Department investigated it, closed the case without determining that any crime had been committed. You probably never even heard about that. Goes completely away after everybody covers it, after LeBron James compares himself to Emmett Till. After all of that process plays out, nobody even calls LeBron James on the fact that the whole story may well have been made up. No crime. LAPD just dismisses it. They show up a few minutes after the alleged incident happened. It's already been painted over. There's a video camera right there. Nobody mysteriously wasn't on. There's no footage to show us who did it. No, LeBron James is the recipient of racist vandalism. Fact that it didn't happen, that the LAPD can't confirm it, just disappears. And now Bubba Wallace, at least the 15 freaking FBI agents who investigated a garage pull door rope, 15 FBI agents showed up and said, oh my God, what is this? It's a garage pull door rope. It's utterly insane. All 3 of these things proven either to not happen or to be lies. Michael Bennett, LeBron James, Bubba Wallace. Media got ahead of it. All of the media covered as if this was 100% true. Why should you in the media presume that anything is 100% true? I'm fired up about the failures in the media because I'm a part of them. And honestly, this actually works to my benefit. Because every time one of these hoaxes blows up, my audience explodes. Because so many of you feel like, and you're right, you can't trust the media that covers stories. And you may not agree with me. A lot of you may even hate some of my opinions. But the number one thing you know if you listen to OUTKICK is you can trust what I am telling you. I desperately try to make sure that I get the facts right. And everybody else on Monday, remember we had Jason Whitlock on the show. I encourage you to go listen to it. Everybody else on Monday is talking all about this awful racism before we even knew whether there was any truth to it at all. And the added part here is a lot of people on social media will call you racist if you question or say, let's wait until all the facts are in. We have so expanded the definition of racism that if you say, okay, well, that's an allegation, let's wait and let the investigation take place before we determine what happened, then people out there will be like, oh my God, that's racist. There are people right now who will tweet me after this opening and they will say it was racist of you not to believe that Bubba Wallace had a noose put in his garage the minute that the story came out. I'm sorry, Michael Bennett, LeBron James, now Bubba Wallace. Do you even remember Jussie Smollett? Juicy Smollier, as he's called by Dave Chappelle? The minute you hear some of these stories, I would just ask you, wait a minute, Is this the best thing that could ever happen to Jussie Smollett's career? Is this what he would want to happen if he could set out anything? Does this make him more relevant? Is this going to make him more money? Does this make him more of a celebrity? If the answer to all of those questions is yes, why would you presume that anyone is telling the truth without any investigation into the facts actually taking place? I'm going to open up phone lines. 877-996-6369. I will bring in the crew. Again, this is 100% a fundamental failure on the part of NASCAR, on the part of Bubba Wallace, and on the part of the sports media. I'm not giving anybody a pass here. This is a failure of all three on every possible level. There was no reason for this story to play out like it did. And I know some of you out there probably who are going to want to talk to me on the phone are going to say, I think this was a complete rig job by NASCAR in an effort to try to get more attention. I don't think that. I think this was a failure systemically because I believe NASCAR gets the complaint and they are so petrified that if they don't take it serious, they're going to be considered racist. So they drastically overreact by putting out that statement on Sunday instead of allowing the investigation to take place first. This was a failure by Bubba Wallace because if somebody on your crew reports that, how is your first thought not, I want to see it for myself? This was a failure of whoever is on Bubba Wallace's crew and didn't take the time to actually walk around in the garages and recognize that this wasn't a noose. It was a pull rope for garage doors. And this was a failure by the media to put the cart before the horse, to race in the direction of covering this as if it were 100% true before we knew the investigation had actually taken place. All of this, failure, failure, failure.